And now, the all across the globe have been waiting. It's the main card with your man, boy. As always, in the opposite corner, my mano Imano, my verbal sparring partner, Philly's finest, with his nice black. It looks like Philly's hat. Could be navy blue. I don't know.
It's Navy.
It's navy. Okay, all
It's
right.
Navy,
I say it looks like.
Brother, you just seem like you already won fisticuffs earlier. We ain't even got through the intro.
No,
yet.
it's not fisticuffs. I'm just saying maybe. Maybe it's navy. Would you join the Navy if you didn't like the gravy and rice? Think about it.
That must be some old head talk. I don't know what that means. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the main card. Welcome to the main card with the man, the myth, the legend, the voice, and your man, Will Just Ruffin. We got an amazing show for you. Let me get this man his intro because he already on one. He was on one pre-show. The man, the myth, the legend, man with his own t-shirt. He ain't got no halo on his head because now he got a STL hat on.
That's right, baby. Them Cardinals. I don't like baseball.
Is what STL stand for? Stop, talk, and lick your lips. What is that?
No, that sounds like some Philly stuff to me.
I don't know. I don't know what that is. Listen, sir, I don't know what that is. Anyway, we have an amazing show for y'all today. Gonna get into literally the biggest fight of the year. We got some Bellator talk and a man who is literally right now like Thanos when it comes to moving up weight classes is literally fighting in his fourth world title weight class change, if that makes any sense. But we got a great show. Let's go ahead and get into it. Voice, you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, KOs and low blows. Now, there's somebody in particular who's been asking me about Mike Tyson and Jake Paul for a couple weeks now. Now, mind you, this person don't know anything about boxing, but she just knows those two names. Mm-hmm. So here we are. Tyson and Paul literally faced off and had their media conference. And voice, it was exactly what you expected. Mm-hmm. It was a lot of, should we still do this? Should this still happen? Tyson telling us how sore he is, and Jake Paul literally telling us he throws a harder punch than Iron Mike Tyson. Voice, I know you saw it. I know you tuned in. What are your thoughts on this bout? And I mean, Voice, are we still wanting this bout to happen after it's been fully sanctioned?
Did we want it to happen before it was fully sanctioned? Is the question. I mean, this is a cash grab. This is a legalized bank robbery, and the bank is Netflix and all of the Netflix subscribers. This is a ploy to get people like myself to resubscribe to Netflix, strictly for the ability to watch this fight. And the hope is that there'll be enough going on Netflix when I resubscribe and the people like me to keep me for a month or two. That is all this is. It is it's a cash grab. It is a cash grab by those that are involved, and it is a cash grab by those that are putting it on.
I mean, it was different when it wasn't sanctioned because then it was considered a celebrity boxing fight, and now it's fully sanctioned. We don't know exactly what that's going to mean for the two fighters. We do know, they were friendly during the face-off. It wasn't an I hate you battle, but many people some feel like Mike Tyson is too old to be in the ring. And there's some who feel like Jake Paul shouldn't be in the ring with Mike Tyson. Which one are you, boys?
Okay, so some people believe that Jake Paul's too young to be in the ring with Mike Tyson.
Some people believe that Jake Paul is not as ready as he believes he is to face Mike Tyson,
okay,
even at 57.
Gotcha. Mike is too old. That's the bottom line. Jake Paul has been fighting professionally for some years now. He literally could be Mike's son or grandson. Mm-hmm. He's knocking people out regardless of the level of competition, he does have that ability to knock people out. Mike is pushing 60. Yeah, this fight, Mike is way too old. And the last time Mike was in a competitive fight, I don't even know if Jake Paul was born. So yeah, definitely Mike is too old.
I don't know if it's the nostalgia in me or if it's the fact that I just want to believe, but Mike looked good in his sparring recently. So, maybe something that happened, he'll pull it out.
Was that sparring?
I don't know. I saw the highlights. It was like
and that's
Ben
always
Simmons. It was like a Ben Simmons jump shooting tape. So it always looks good in practice, but we'll see what happens afterwards. But that's going to be exciting. As it gets closer, we'll continue to provide you more information on the main card for any changes or any updates to the bout. That's also going to be taking place on Netflix. So make sure you stay tuned and make sure you also check our YouTube page, because sometimes Voice might drop a nice little corner talk on what's going on if anything changes. Now, Voice, going from one professional fight that we're not sure we want to happen to one that I know the people want to see. Gervonta Tank Davis has stated after Frank Martin, even though he hasn't even faced Frank Martin yet, that he wants Lomachenko next. Said Loma's on the hit list. What's going on, family? He said Loma is on the hit list.
Sure right. No,
Mom said no, we don't.
But she also said don't count Mike out.
It could be one punch.
Look, I'm not counting Mike out. The ref is the one that would be counting Mike out.
Nah, don't do Mike like this. You laughing, so I know there's something there.
No,
like you said,
see, talking about Netflix, you like make a new email and get the trial.
Y'all ain't no good, man. Just pay the $9.99, man.
I'm not paying that. I get it for free with T-Mobile. I'm just gonna go. I'm gonna take that. Take them up on that offer.
All right, so everybody hit up Voice when you're ready to watch the fight and have him add you to his account. Getting back to it.
That's why I don't have it anymore. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
We got a show to run. Did she just tell me to hush? It's not $24.98 for me, so I don't know what you're paying. Anyway, Gervonta Tank Davis has said that he wants Vasily Lomachenko after Frank Martin. He said he is on his hit list. Voice, I know you got some spicy takes on that. What do you think about the possibility of them fighting? And what would that mean for the major setups for the fights that we actually talked about previously?
Okay, so I'm going to have you come back to the second part again, because I've already forgotten it. But what does this mean? It means that Tank is trying to build interest in a fight that many of us have wanted to see for quite some time. The timing of this is quite questionable. Now, granted, I'll say this in his defense. It was as good a time as any to make this pitch, because he, being Loma, looked better than he had in quite some time. I mean, he turned back the clock on Kambosos. But again, this is Kambosos, someone who we know was in a very fortunate fight against Teofimo Lopez. No one wanted to see it going in. And afterward, he went right back to who we thought he was. I mean, the man couldn't even win a unanimous decision in his only fight that wasn't against somebody of note. It was a majority decision. So, yeah, it's Kambosos that he did this again. Granted, did he do what Teo could not do and what Haney could not do in stopping him? Absolutely he did. But, I mean, we talking about Kambosos here. That's what we talking about. So it's like your boy from who has ties to Philly. Practice. We talking about practice. We talking about Kambosos.
I'm not. I'm not gonna let you try to tie in Cambosis to one of the greatest sports figures in the world, AI. Okay, now that's that STL
Well, we can
talk.
when Cambosis and practice are like one and the same. I mean,
We're not
literally,
even talking.
fighting Cambosis is like practice.
That's a shame. I heard somebody say on a on Twitter that Cambosis is the Derek Lewis of boxing, and I can't unhear that at this point. Everybody feels as though he's the practice to get to before you get to the top dogs. Do you believe in that?
No, I don't, because he's not a top dog. The only reason that he has been in any kind of conversation is because he had a very fortunate outcome against a diminished Teofimo Lopez. Had that fight not turned out the way it did, nobody would have been talking about Cambosis.
Okay. So if Tank and Loma were to happen, what would that mean for those big fights that we're still wanting to see moving forward?
I think they're still on, because here's the thing about what Tank said. It's like, yeah, got about 6 fights, and he named this as one of the 6. That means that it's highly probable that the fight won't happen. I mean, that's it was a masterful job by Tank to get his name in the public by saying some things that people want to see, but also things that, if they do happen, favor him. And it's quite probable and possible that it doesn't happen. I mean, it was a masterful marketing ploy by Gervonta Tank Davis.
All right. Well, that's pretty cut and dry. We'll see what happens as they continue on, because lately all these big fighters are wanting to fight each other because everyone wants supremacy to be king. So definitely going to be interested to see that happen.
Yes, sir. Something else is of interest as of late. I'm not playing with AI, Mom. I like I said, Cambosis is just like practice. He said practice. We talking about practice. We talking about, so just insert Cambosis for practice. Cambosis. We talking about Cambosis. Like, I really need to show up for Cambosis. That's what we're talking about. But now we're talking about some things that you really like. Talking about king and queen of the ring. And I already learned more about it just in our pre-fight talk. Because I know that the tournament is going on. We talked about how they're trying to sow the seeds, or write the Timeless jumps in when we start talking about wrestling. Fitting. But what's going on, Timeless? You my dude. How they're already trying to write the story of the demise of Black Girl Magic, which just happened last week. It feels like, man, it ain't been a full month, and y'all already trying to break it up.
Probably a few weeks before WrestleMania.
Yeah. So so you got one full PLE in, and now we're already trying to break it up.
So technically you had 2, because you just had Backlash in France, which they won the tag team titles. And what Voice is a piece into is the WWE King and Queen of the Ring tournaments. And right now, Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill are on the same side of the bracket, but it's going to take them to win their respective bouts. Now, I know that Jade is actually going to be facing Nia Jax, and this is after she put on an amazing match with Naomi that saw Naomi literally do a Hurricane Rana off the top, and Nia's like 6'3", 6'4" or something. So that was an amazing feat. Oh man! And then of course Bianca Belair has to win her next. The France crowd was amazing. It was one of a kind.
Don't get me started on the France crowd. That was AI. We talking about AI, not Allen Iverson, but artificial intelligence.
They literally broke records. Voice, you got to learn to respect it, because it's a part of the TKO family now. Now, on top of
that's not it. It's a whole sea of French people, native French people, speaking perfect English. That's
French people was out here rapping Kendrick Lamar. They not like us. Like 2 weeks ago. So what are we saying?
I ain't see that.
The culture don't know.
I'll probably call that AI too. But go ahead. I'm sorry.
The culture don't know nothing. But the King of the Ring tournament is continuing. The finals are going to be done. One surprising thing was Jey Uso actually pulled out the win. He's going to be facing Gunther in the men's side of the King of the Ring final. On top of that, you got Becky Lynch versus Liv Morgan. She's still on that Liv Morgan Revenge World Tour. That's going to be for the Women's World Championship. And Sami Zayn, Chad Gable, and Bronson Reed for the Intercontinental Championship. They're literally getting back to the essence of what that was. But the big match that I know you want to talk about, Cody Rhodes is going to be facing Logan Paul for the World Championship. It's technically champion versus champion because Logan is the U.S. champion, but it's literally his biggest match so far. I mean, he's already had one against Roman Reigns last year, but he wasn't champion then. He's going to be headlining this event with Cody Rhodes, and whether you like Logan Paul or not, he's literally come in and he's shown that he takes it seriously. He's probably one of the best wrestlers out. His athleticism is crazy, and the work he does in the ring is crazy. So that's going to be a big match. Also, that's going to be next week, and we'll cover it more as it gets closer because there's still going to be qualifying matches completed for both King and Queen side, and then we'll find out if Bianca and Jade are going to be facing off against each other, which I don't understand that. I kind of feel like something's going to happen where they're not going to because they just won the tag titles together, and the Black Girl Magic thing is big right now in WWE, so they're just picking that up. So we'll see what happens, but we'll make sure that you all stay locked in. That's going to be next Saturday, and we'll provide more information on the next week episode of the main card.
Yeah, Raw is going to be really, really good this week because you got the semifinals taking place. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing. So, okay, yeah, he had a good fight. Will they go ahead and end the story?
They're not going to do that. It's too early, and Logan Paul is literally still a novelty act. They're not going to do that.
With his brother making all this noise with Mike Tyson, I could see him possibly having a cup of coffee with the belt sometime soon.
Now, I wouldn't be surprised though if you do see Jake at the event because that's happened before also, where Jake shows up at one of Logan's matches. So that could possibly happen
anytime before July 20th.
It's always about the money, Jesse. It's always about the money. That's what they do. That's how they make that bread. But it's gonna be fun. It's gonna be exciting. We'll make sure we cover that for you.
All right. On the other side of the break, we're gonna get into quite possibly the fight of the century. It's the main card. Keep it locked.
It's not just about the love of the game. It's about dedication and commitment through the process, and the patience to endure. There's joy in reaching your goals, and peace in knowing you've done all you're supposed to do. Ozell brand. It's not just a brand, it's a lifestyle.
Awesome, man. Shout out to the sponsor, shout out to the fam Ozell brand. Getting it in as usual, providing you those amazing cleats. Make sure you get your Bruce Leroy's. Those are the voices shoes, actually. I'm sorry. The voice Leroy's. That's that royal blue, because he out here yelling cacao and
cacao. That awesome, baby. We lost, but that's just so we can come back and make it more interesting when we win it all in the UFL inaugural championship.
That's what you tell yourself every time St. Louis does something. Hey, whatever you got to do, brother. Voice. After multiple postponements, a surprise knockdown, a few injuries, back and forth through the media, and finally, a father's headbutt, we have finally made it to Fury Usyk. Now, it's being billed as the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world. This is something that hasn't happened. There's something that's happening for the first time in 23 years. This is a fight that at one point many actually doubted would even or should happen. Now, the one thing that we can't guarantee, Voice, is that in this bout, it's a lot of animosity and it's thick as oatmeal. Okay, with the latest drama being Tyson Fury's father John headbutting a friend of Usyk's, who has already warned Fury that he doesn't have friends with him, but he has professional soldiers, Voice, who want more smoke than the main card at 7:15. Usyk said, "Listen, my team is very good at wanting to fight, not boxing, but street fighting, shooting, knives, and wrestling. Of course, it's disappointing that it happened at an event like this because it's about discipline. But I'm not disappointed on my team. They're disappointed because I pulled them back and stopped them from fighting." Now, on the other side, Fury not only called his bout with Usyk D-Day, but in the midst of promoting the bout, Voice, he took another dig as his opponent. He said, "I've never said Usyk isn't a good boxer. I've called him an ugly little rat dozier. That's what I've called him.
Dosser.
But I've never said his."
I shouldn't have said that properly.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, it's Dosser. I don't know what that means, so that's why I shouldn't keep saying it. But anyway, go ahead.
Oh, that's a bad word?
It could be. I don't know.
In the UK?
I have no idea.
Okay, well, they'll probably censor us in the UK. Fury went on to speak about the Undisputed moniker, stating, "I think we'll find out on Saturday whose destiny it is, mine or his. We both can't have the destiny of being undisputed in this era, and we won't be young enough to go into another era. So into another era undisputed. So it's D-Day for both fighters." Voice, the beef is thick. It's thick. Now, I know we talking about fighting, but Usyk out here saying he got soldiers and they ready to go at it. What are your thoughts on what's being said between the two of them? And I'll ask you the second question because I know you forget everything. What's your thoughts on the bout between the two of them as far as everything that's going on so far?
Everything that's going on so far is par for the course. What's not par for the course regarding this, because you talked about them getting into it, but did you mention that the headbutt resulted in blood? Like there was bloodshed as this took place?
I ain't go that far. I thought the headbutt was enough, but I saw the pictures.
Yeah, I mean, and it was immediate. His blood started flowing from Fury's father's head, John's head. I think that's par for the course. You have gypsies who love to fight. I mean that's their culture, is fighting. It's like, hey, what are you doing today? I don't know. Well, you should know. Punch in the mouth and start fighting, because that's just their culture. They love fighting. The Gypsy King is a real title. That's the person among the gypsies who has beat everybody else, or beat the top people. So this is just a Tuesday for them. What makes this, and I'm really searching for the right word, what makes this more notable and more interesting is that this took place in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, a place that doesn't play when it comes to their laws. Like you can get locked up for public displays of affection, and that was a public display. And if that's affection, then I don't want to know what hatred looks like. So the fact that this happened and that we haven't heard anything about that shows really the power of the fight and really the power of Turkey. Because Turkey's the one who's putting all this on. The fact that this loud, brash Englishman, I don't think would have made it worse if he was American, but this loud, brash Englishman comes over and does this kind of thing in your nation, a nation known for its strict rules, and nothing has even been said. That's really a power flex for Turkey.
It's understandable. Now, I mean, it's been a lot going on. I personally think maybe this is being allowed to happen so they can further promote the fight. Because we know how that happens, and this is such a major bout for them that's been postponed twice already. With both of them being undefeated, and like Fury said, they're not going to go into the next era undefeated. Whose legacy would be better if for a win here?
This fight is that's a great question. I don't know whose legacy. Well, take that back. The legacy is best for Usyk because he's a smaller man, and you got the smaller man who's already quoted is not the size of the dog that's in the fight, but it's the size of the fight that's in the dog. He's putting on for himself. He's putting on for Ukraine. He's putting on for everybody. So it behooves him, and it really does more for him than it does for Fury. If Fury were to win, he becomes the first undisputed champion in 20 some odd years. I don't know that we've had many, or I should say, at least in this multi-belt era, having an undisputed champion who was also undefeated. That's huge. Not a heavyweight. So you're setting records. You're making a name for yourself being Fury. But if Fury wins, that just means you got to keep fighting, because there is a rematch clause for Usyk if it's a close fight. Now, if it's not a close fight, then it'll be much like the Spence Crawford rematch clause. Yeah, it's out there, but do I really want it? No, I don't really want it. If Usyk wins, he can ride off into the sunset. He has literally done everything. He has beaten everyone, every single body. Fury would still have to fight Joshua to make that claim. Usyk beat him twice. So for Usyk, not only would it be career defining, but it may be career ending if he were to win the fight. Whereas Tyson Fury still has a lot ahead of him. It's really interesting, especially, you look at Tyson and you look at all the things that he has done. He's got a lot of stuff coming into this fight. You have the fact that there was more time. Was that beneficial? It may have been more beneficial to him to help him get together. We know the stinker that took place with Joshua last. How much of that was just him not paying attention, and how much of that was, and I say attention to the danger that Francis possessed, and how much of that was his decline. He parties like a rock star, literally. And he gains weight and has to cut all this weight and all that stuff. That catches up with you. Whereas with Usyk, he lives that Spartan lifestyle, or he lives that boxer's lifestyle. I mean, and look at the man. Look at this picture. I chose this one on purpose. The lights are on, but you can see, I don't know if anybody's home, or if they're home, they might like be in a different room or something right now. There's a blankness in the eyes of Usyk that should scare people. And he's got his native haircut. This hairstyle is what the Kazakhs would wear, the warriors would wear going into battle. So this is why from time to time you see him wearing his hair like this when he goes and fights. I mean, he's ready. He is ready. He's been ready. Is he now overtrained because of that time off? How much will that cut factor into things? There are a lot of question marks. It's going to be huge for both of them. But again, it would be, I think it would be a greater victory if Usyk were to gain the title.
I just want to say to Usyk's people, because I know the man got soldiers, if you're watching this, don't come to Orlando. Go to St. Louis, because that's where that is. I didn't say anything.
Oh, okay. All right. I got you. I
didn't say anything. I don't want that smoke.
Okay.
You said that man lights ain't on all the way. He said he got soldiers.
And that's not a bad thing. You look in the man's eyes and tell me that you see.
Brother, it's scary. I'm not trying to get in the ring with that man. I'm across the street. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And I can consider myself to be a pretty tough person. I'm crossing the street, but I ain't gonna say nothing else about that man because that man said he got soldiers, and I ain't got no soldiers.
Look, and he's a soldier. With that being said, though, real quick, that's why I said it's about the size of the dog in the fight. Now, I mean, about the size of the fight in the dog, not the dog in the fight. I believe he is tipping his hat to his country, Ukraine. I heard not Steve, Sean Zattel say something about this, and I agreed with him. Ukraine has been fighting hard. Usyk had time out to do what? Fight for real. Every time he steps in the ring, Loma steps in the ring. You know, people of that nature, when they step into the arena of combat, it is for their brothers and their sisters who are in literal combat. So yeah, he's got a lot riding on this, and he's got the country of Ukraine behind him, literally and figuratively.
Yeah, one of the things he actually mentioned when he talked about the issue with Usyk and the issue with Fury and his family is he stated, like, you know, Ukraine, we don't get many events like these, and we want to make sure that we put on for everyone. So he is a very proud countryman, for sure. Make sure you all tune in. Make sure you follow Voice on Twitter. I know Voice is going to be scoring it on Twitter. Let them know your thoughts as each round goes on. That's going to be an amazing bout. That's for the Undisputed Heavyweight Championship of the world. It's going to be historic. First time in over 23 years. Now, Voice, I mean, moving on. For most, the Bellator Champion Series 2 card is filled with exciting fights, and it's going to be Bellator's 4th France visit since May of 2023. Now, for Magomed, this is a revenge tour opportunity that he has been waiting for since Bellator 289. Now, if you remember Bellator 289, Magomed actually lost to Patchy Mix at the Bellator Bantamweight World Grand Prix semifinal, and he has not forgotten it. Now, he recently stated, honestly, this is the perfect scenario for me. So with one shot, I can kill both rabbits, right? He told reporters that through an interpreter, actually, he said, I can get my revenge and also get the Bellator title, the one that all the fighters are looking at. Now, the man known as Tiger is more focused than ever before, and this type of title opportunity is the reason for it. Now, he's vowing to be more than he has ever been to come out as the winner. He stated the whole preparation and training camp was totally different rather than the first one. One thing I can guarantee is that in that cage, you'll see another Tiger and not the one you saw before with Patchy Mix. I can promise you this. I think you'll see a more aggressive Magomed who push the pace forward and move forward. I've turned myself for the 5-round fight, and it's actually not going to be a fight. It's going to be a brawl. Now, with a win, he actually already has his sights set on his first title shot opportunity, Voice. And that's a part of the Revenge World Tour. The second man on his Revenge World Tour is Bellator 264 opponent, Rufian Stotts.
Yeah.
He said, if everything went perfect in this bout, I'd love to have my first title defense against him, as he mentioned. Now, this is the same thing. I have to defend my title, but if the title defense is going to be a fight that I can avenge my loss, that'll be ideal. Let's say 2024, I'm setting the goal that it will be the year of revenge. Voice, I mean, we know what Patchy Mix does, but it seems like Tiger is literally coming into this more focused than ever. What should we feel about this going into this bout?
We should feel that Patchy Mix has everything to lose and nothing to gain. You've already beat this man, and not only did you beat him, you submitted him, and you did it in short order. And then you went on to beat people that have beat him in Rufian Stotts. Knocked the man clean out. It was nasty. I still can see that in my mind. And then you went on to beat Sergio Pettis in his background. I mean, not background, his backyard in Chicago on the last Bellator card that was done by Paramount. So you got all this pressure on you, and he ran through. I was there. I was in the building, sitting cage side, and he ran through Sergio like a hot knife through butter and came out looking like the champion and the star that he was. Oh, let's not forget, he did this coming off of silk sheets, because when he knocked out Stotts, he deposited $1 million into his bank account. So really, you have everything to lose in Patchy Mix and nothing to gain. I mean, the only thing that he won't lose, if he were to lose this fight, is his relationship with Tatiana Suarez. I don't see Magomed coming and taking his girl, but that's about the only thing that it is that Patchy Mix doesn't have to lose. Magomed has everything to gain, and he's talking big. I like how he's talking. That's a strong way to talk, and that's the way that you should talk, seeing as you haven't beaten really anybody of note. Every time that Magomed is lost, it's been to a champion. His first loss, Piotr Yan. His next loss was to Rafian Stotts. Now, Rafian wasn't a champion at that time, but he gained championship status. Next time he lost to Patchy Mix, who also was not the champion at that time, but gained championship status. So, I mean, his 3 losses are against champions, and you're fighting a champion again who already knows who you are and really haven't done much in Tiger different than what you did when you beat him. Now, he did do something that a lot of people love, which is stop Danny Sabatello. But, outside of that, what kind of changes in your game have been made to back up this strong talk that you had?
I mean, even with those changes, that Revenge World Tour is going to be near impossible when you look at what Patchy has done. I mean, his last 6 bouts, he's coming in literally undefeated, but 5 of those are coming by submission or KO. And voice, he last lost a 2020 decision to Juan Archuleta. So that's literally 2020, and his last 6 fights, he's basically annihilated everybody who's been put in front of him. So that Revenge World Tour better be worth it, and it better be good. It's going to be headlining an awesome card. That's going to be Bellator Champion Series 2. That's going to be live from France. Voice is going to be following that. The love for Bellator that the main card has is unmatched. Make sure you all tune in and make sure you follow the Voice on social media to get those updates, and those breakdowns of those rounds. Now, rounding out your combat sports weekend, Voice, I'm ready to call him Boxing Thanos. Now, Emmanuel Navarrete is only 29 years old with 40 fights under his belt, Voice. 14 of those fights are for title fights or title defenses. Now, he's looking to continue his run when he attempts for his 4th weight class world title when he meets Denis Baranachuk for the vacant WBO lightweight title. Now, Vaquero has been the WBO junior featherweight champion, the WBO featherweight champion, and the WBO junior lightweight champion. But if you ask him, it's all a design and in his plan to set up fights with some of the biggest names in boxing, include Shakur Stevenson, Lomachenko, and also Tank Davis. Now, he stated, "We've worked hard to get here." He told Boxing Scene, "We'll be looking for those fights without a doubt. There's a desire for those high-level fights, and I feel like I need that in my career and that last vote of confidence and acceptance. Those fights will give me that. My work speaks for itself. I feel good, I feel calm, I feel strong, and I feel confident." But he will be fighting for his next title, Voice, coming off of major hand surgery after his 2023 draw, and he's going to be doing it against an undefeated fighter in Dennis that has something that he does not, and he cannot take lightly. Now, he's already stated Dennis is dangerous, and he's ready. He's going to come with a lot of hunger, and we're going to do what we have to do and try to take care of that. Now, Voice, I mean, people don't talk as much about Emmanuel as they should. I mean, he's 29 years old with 40 fights, and 14 of those fights, Voice, have been top-notch fights for titles or title defenses. What can we make of the fighter that he's becoming and the fighters that he's literally preparing for that he's telling us? Not coming in, Doc.
All right, let's try that again. I'm sorry. Sorry for the technical difficulties. Navarrete is unfortunately fighting in an era where you've got a whole lot of names in and around your weight class. Now, has he been doing the thing? Yes, he has. Has he been making a name for himself? Absolutely. Unfortunately, he's taken a little bit of a step back. He had a phenomenal fight in his last outing, but it was a draw. And many people felt like it was close enough where it shouldn't have been a draw, like it should have been for his opponent. But it was such a thrilling fight, and one that really many people wanted to see run back. I understand why he's fighting Baranchek and going up in weight, because there's much more money to be made and many more names at and around 135 than there are at 130. He wants to fight Shakur. Shakur wants to fight him. This is why Shakur threw a fit when this fight was made, because he thought that he was up next for Vaquero, and he wasn't. So much like Tyson Fury in the first fight that we talked about, Navarrete has everything to gain, or I shouldn't say gain. He has everything to lose and a bit to gain, not as much to gain, but he has a bit to gain because he can't get to your Tanks. He can't get to your Shakurs, your possible tail fights and your Loma fights and things of that nature if he does not make it past Baranchek. Not to be confused with Ivan Baranchek. Dennis Baranchek, as you can see, is another Ukrainian wearing that same Kazakh warrior hairstyle, is a Olympic medalist. That's a silver medal up to his eye right there. So though he only has 18 pro fights, he has experience on the world stage and he knows how to fight. He hasn't fought anyone professionally the level of Vaquero, though, and that's really where the big question mark comes in with this fight. Should Vaquero have more respect on his name? He probably should. I understand why he doesn't, because again, he's been building a name for himself as well, and in and around fighters that those weight classes don't get a lot of pub. And then those who do have the publicity, they've always been just a weight class or so ahead of Navarrete. Again, you lose to Baranchek. Is he someone who has some skills? Yes, but he's relatively unknown. So that hurts, and that takes you out of those big money fights that you're looking for. Whereas Baranchek, he could be the Kambosos of he could be the new Kambosos of this weight class, and being that he wins and is thrust into the limelight as a champion and someone that everyone else is now looking to fight.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely coming in. It's definitely an underrated bout when you think about it, as far as it going under the radar. I mean, Mayo has not seen that defeat. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I was saying it's not even being promoted by by Top Rank. Everything you see is about Fury and Usyk. It was hard to find some media on Navarrete Baranchek.
Yeah, I mean he hasn't seen a defeat voice since like a unanimous decision loss in like 2012, and that was like his sixth fight. Now, mind you, he's on 41, so that's incredible to think of. And like you talked about, Baranchek, he hasn't tasted defeat, and he's had 18 bouts coming in. So it's definitely going to be an amazing bout, especially considering the fact they're going to be fighting for a championship. Make sure you also tune into social media for that. Voice has all that you need when it comes to the fights and following the fights. If you're not able to purchase the bout, he gives you that round by round breakdown of what's happening. Make sure you follow him. That's going to be at The Voice on Twitter or X or whatever else you decide to call it. Ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be the big fights for this weekend, but I'm sure Voice has some last fights he wants you to make sure that you watch out for also. Let us know what we should be looking out for, Voice.
Well, as far as fights to look out for, obviously the fights that we have talked about, but also on that Bellator Paris card, you have Cedric Doumbé, a vaunted prospect in MMA, just knocking people out all over Europe. Lost his last fight in the PFL, and now is taking a fight in Bellator, in the sister organization. More than likely because it is in France and he's a Frenchman. But either way it goes, he's on this card. It's going to be interesting to see how he responds from this first loss. And not only is he responding from that loss, but this is the person he's fighting in Willis. Yeah, that's a replacement fight. He was supposed to be fighting Derek Anderson, which was probably a little bit of a softer touch. Although Willis, he's been like losing as much as he's been winning. I want to say he's like 2-3 in his last 5. So it may be just the kind of showcase fight needed to get Doumbé back on track. Or if Willis fights the fight of his life, it could spell problems for the Frenchman. Then the UFC, that fight, I'm sorry, is on Friday. So the Bellator card from Paris is on Friday. On Saturday, on ESPN Plus, from the famed Apex, where Dana White said he's got to get out of, but not quite yet. Edson Barbosa is taking on Lerone Murphy in about at, I believe it's at featherweight. So you got that happening, and there's some other fights on all of those cards that are interesting, including a fight with or for Joshua Oluwasheen Wahab, boxing on that Ring of Fire card in Saudi Arabia. So your man, the Voice, is interested anytime a Nigerian fights, and then he's Yoruba too, and got part of my name in his name. Oh yeah, your man, the Voice, is gonna have to see what's going on with that. But those are the things that are going on. Lots and lots of fights this week, and so many fights, so little time.
Amazing. Thank you for that, Voice. Also, be sure to look out Friday night SmackDown. The King and Queen of the Ring tournaments are going to continue. Voice talked about it earlier. Both Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair will be in action, so we get to see what the next step is going to be for that. And also the men's part, you're going to see Randy Orton versus NXT's own Carmelo Hayes. I can't remember a second bout. I don't even think there's a second bout there, but make sure you all tune into that. Thank you all for tuning in. MTMV Sports. We are the fans. We do the work. If you can't see these beautiful faces and this luscious skin, this is Wakandan water that I wash in. If you can't see these faces, take us with you on the road. On every podcast that you enjoy, every podcast network that you enjoy, Apple, Spotify, Voice, and I'm missing one. We're on YouTube. We're on everywhere. So you don't have
Amazon,
an excuse
whatever,
not to take us with you. Like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for your continued support. Voice, take us out.
Till next time, fight the good fight.
What's going on, family? It's your man, Wildress.
And it's your man, the myth, the legend, the Voice.
And you just finished watching the main card on the MTMV network.
Yeah, for more great shows just like this, smash the subscribe button and keep fighting the good fight.